Few programs were hotter on the recruiting trail this summer than Florida State and Mike Norvell. Now, I know after a disappointing 2-10 season in 2024, you wouldn't expect the Seminoles to be surging like this, but somehow Mike Norvell and his staff have completely flipped the script when it comes to recruiting. They closed the last cycle strong with some big signups and big signings, and that momentum it hasn't just carried over; it's absolutely exploded. June was especially wild for the Seminoles with 12 commits in 1 month alone, pushing Florida State firmly into the conversation for a top 10 class after finishing just 20th last season. Now, but arguably the biggest fireworks, they came right after the calendar flipped over to July. First, Rivals top 100 defensive lineman Ernest Ranking, 6'4", 260-pound, big defensive lineman, one of the most feared pass rushers in high school football in this recruiting class. He chose Florida State over Auburn, Georgia, Texas A&M, and a laundry list of other big-time teams. Rankin said that what sold him was the program's culture, the brotherhood among the staff, among the players, the chance to help bring Florida State back to glory. That was another big thing for him, and he knows what this program is capable of, what they are known for. He wants to get them back to that point, and obviously that's a big task for one player, but he thinks that with himself and other big-time recruits that Florida State is adding to the roster, that they can do just that. Just a few days later, they ended up landing another monster pickup, five-star cornerback, Chauncey Keenan. He's the number 27 overall player in the country, number 2 corner nationally. And he picked the Seminoles over Florida, Miami, and a host of other heavy hitters. Obviously, beating out other Florida teams is really big. That's something that Florida State needs if they're going to get big-time recruit, getting the guys that are in your backyard first and focusing on them. And that's exactly what they did with Chauncey Keenan there. By the end of July, Florida State had 22 commits. 13 of them were blue chips, and 6 ranked in the national top 250, which is absolutely incredible. And here's the kicker: 15 of those commitments came in just June and July alone. They even closed out July beating Auburn and Ohio State, 4-star offensive lineman Dayron Parks. Now the Seminoles, they flipped the commitment of Isaiah Williams from Ole Miss here just a few days ago. And Williams, he was number 3 linebacker in the class, according to Rivals. Right now, they sit at number 15 in the Rivals industry team ranking, the team recruiting rankings right now. But with the way that they're recruiting right now, a top 10 finish is absolutely in play here for the Seminoles. Now, one thing that I love about this class is that Florida State is loading up on multi-sport athletes. These guys aren't just football players. They've got elite speed. They've got hops, skills that translate from track, basketball, wrestling, all over the place, which is really impressive, being able to pull in those multi-sport players like Florida State has done. Chauncey Keenan, he's a standout track and field with a blazing 102-meter times, plus district-level jumps as well. Wide receiver Devin Carter that they pulled in, another track guy. He can absolutely fly, get over the top of the defenses, get past the secondary. Tight end Xavier Tiller, he's a 2-sport athlete as well, holding his own on the hardwood over playing basketball as well. Jason Lopez, not just a football recruit. He's got Division I basketball offers and will possibly play both sports at Florida State. We're talking speed demons like Brandon Bennett, who's a 3-time state qualifier in the 100-meter. These aren't just athletes, they're competitors. They're guys that can do what they need to do to bring Florida State back to glory. That's exactly the kind of DNA that you need out of a recruiting class, especially when you're in the dumps the way that Florida State has been here recently. To sum it up for Florida State might have struggled on the field last season, but off the field in the recruiting trail, they're winning big and they're pulling in big time players. These players hit the way that if they hit the way that their high school film says that they will, the Seminoles very well could be cooking again very soon and for a while into the future. That's it for today's recruiting breakdown. We'll be back with more big names, big decisions, and big moves on the trail. I'm Josh Mahler, and I'll see you on the recruiting trail.